Good morning, beloveds, here at 40 Constitution and beyond, because we're now in cyberspace. So, and none of you are being filmed unless you walk up here. So anybody who would like to walk through the camera angle while I am speaking and want to be famous for whatever reason, feel free to, because we're a very open community here. So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Chico. And we're all about love here, don't you know? And you also know that I love to have fun. So I begin with a story. There was an elderly lady in a parking lot at the supermarket the other day, and she had locked herself out of her car. Well, she was using what many of us have used, one of the old metal coat hangers, trying to get the door unlocked. And she was not successful, becoming very frustrated. And try as she might, it just didn't happen for her. And just then, a rough, scruffy, dirty gentleman roared up on his motorcycle, hopped off and offered to help. Grabbed the wire hanger, within a couple of seconds, unlocked. The lady thanked him for his generosity, exclaiming, "You're an angel sent from God." He said, "Lady, I'm no angel. I just got out of jail for auto theft." Well, her eyes lit up and she said, "Well, then he said I'm professional." See, it's all in how we perceive life. She was not put off by his presence, his physical presence. He was there to help her. And I don't know about you, but I sometimes feel I'm stuck like that. I get locked out. I can't get into where I think I need to be. Anyone else? Probably most of us in our lives. Maybe it happened this morning. Kind of how I felt with the sound system. It's like, well, I can do this. I'm just going to breathe and call for that guy on the motorcycle, and maybe he'll, and sure enough, showed up in various forms. Thank you very much. I feel like I've gotten stalled somewhere along the way that the life that I had planned. An example is earlier this summer, I was driving the old Studebaker pickup around town, doing just fine all day around town. And I was enjoying having the windows down. And that's the brand of AC the truck has. Windows down. Windows down. You see, in 57, there wasn't what we know as air conditioning. It was windows down. I was almost home. It lasted several turns. And I had just about ready to make that last turn onto the straight road to my home when the steering went out. Well, there was no left, there was no right. But fortunately, I was just starting out from being stopped, and so I just kind of nudged the curb a little bit, and I was safe. I was safe. And what I found out that there was something going on within the steering mechanism, preventing my ability to steer in the direction that I wanted to go. I was stuck at the curb. Safe, but stuck. Well, what do you do? What do I do? What do I do? I said, what am I going to do? Well, first, I went to principal. Well, maybe first. Took a deep breath. And then second, I was grateful that I was safe. Grateful that it hadn't happened somewhere else. And in my moment of gratitude came this idea. I thought, what would happen if I put it in reverse? Could it? And it steered in reverse. Now, I didn't go home in reverse. But by putting it back into gear, I was able to steer just until I got home. Spirit is generous in its nature. I was grateful. I didn't barge, oh, if you just get me home, Spirit, I'll whatever. I thought, well, whatever's supposed to happen here happens here. But I got home and I was sick. And I was so grateful for that safety because I was willing to surrender to whatever Spirit had in store for me. That's tough. Surrender. To reconsider the way I believed was the direction I was to go. I had to reconsider that. And in that contemplation, which way should I go? I realized, hey, the truck needs more work. Just like us. Just like us. We need more work. We are never done. We are always evolving. We are always surrendering at some level to our spiritual nature to lift us up, move us forward from whatever our experience is. I was also called to delve deeper into my inner workings of how I believed. This stuff isn't easy sometimes. And yet, if we live in the moment, that was brought out yesterday in Karen's service. She was one who didn't live back there or out here. That wasn't part of how she lived. It was right here. Who remembers her beautiful bright smile? That's from living here. No worry about what was, what might be, because it hasn't happened yet. You can't change what was, so let's just live right here. You might say to yourself, but my life, like my truck, was so easy to steer, always going where I said it should go. My life, like the truck, was easy to steer, always going the way I thought it should go until that day. By forcing your life to go a certain way is not a spiritual surrender. Now, it doesn't mean letting go of the wheel to surrender to Spirit. It doesn't mean we can't give it some guidance. Just maybe have a lighter grip on it. A little bit lighter grip. A lesser attachment to where we think we ought to be down the road. And sometimes, like the truck, we need to be willing to back up a little bit, take a breath, and listen. And listen. That's your meditation this morning. You were born in this life in the image and likeness of the one God. That's what we teach here. That's what I know. You are unlimited potential. Your soul's assignment is to assist in the outpicturing of what is possible and spiritually available, which means everything. Everything. Because what I know is that you're not a finished product. You are not a finished product. It ain't over till it's over, right? You were introduced into this life. How? Perfect. This little wiggly thing that just says, wow, look, Ryan, what is this? And we answer that, where am I? What am I to do? Parents start parenting. That's what parents do. But like soft clay on a spirit's potter's wheel, our minds are changeable. If we keep that product pliable and soft and loved. And like that soft clay on a potter's wheel, our life is constantly evolving, remolding with each experience, taking new directions. And it gets those directions through every belief we have, and it's like God's hand on your malleable consciousness, having the potential of changing the previous form. How many have watched clay being molded and remolded? I did it in school. I like the potter's wheel better. It wasn't as pretty because I didn't stick with it long enough. But I remember the fluidity, the feeling. It was fun. Now, I believed that my coil, pots and things were, because you could wrap them and you could pinch them and it looked like some kind of a weird snake there, forming a bowl or a cup. It was easier, but it was more mechanical. The wheel had some expression to it for me. Do you know you are perfect right now as a spiritual being? Do you believe that you are perfect as a spiritual being? As human beings, we often doubt this idea of our divinity. And there are those that seem to have it all together right there. I tried that once. It's difficult to have it all together. That's a lot of it's like that rigid coil rope, bowl. It's just like, yeah, I'm perfect. Yeah, I'm sure not. That's just too much to carry around because we're always evolving. The idea of perfection within us, yes. But are we perfect in completion? Like I said, some appear to have it all together, but we end up like a bunch of whitewashed tombstones. Perfect on the outside and very immovable. There's an old statement of I gotta be right, which is this: my way or the highway. Did you ever hear that in your life? You ever use it? No one's ever used it here. But I heard as a child, my way or the highway. Of course, when I got old enough, I took him up on it. But that statement is the ego raising its voice. Those ideas of rigidity and force are the ego coming forward. And as I said earlier, my way, the day the truck quit steering, was interrupted. I could have gotten mad, maybe expressed a few expletives. And I did have a feeling of frustration. I was very frustrated at first. But it gave way to the question, what am I to do now? And that's a good question to ask yourself about your life. What am I to do now? And here's what I know for all of us here. I am not stuck. I have the Spirit of God supporting me, and I now surrender to the better. Do you want to say that with me? I'll repeat it. I am not stuck. I am not stuck. I have the Spirit of God supporting me, and I now surrender to the better. And I now surrender to the better. Surrender. Some think it's the white flag. I give up. It's not giving up. It's giving over. It's getting over to something better. You will always have the opportunity to turn a negative into a positive. Because what I know about when we're more positive and affirming with ourselves is that you're in spiritual surrender, spiritual agreement. And the sooner you can turn the wheel, steering wheel, turn your mental and emotional situation around something positive to something positive using a statement of truth, the more malleable the clay of the moment. The sooner we can turn our mind around from the negative, from the ego, the easier, the more joyful the experience of life. The longer you stay with the, oh my God, this is awful. Listen to what happened to me. Let me tell you my drama. Let me tell you my sad story. Let me tell you how I was violated. In any way. It could be a false word. It could be anything. Which means, please agree with me. Whenever someone shares their story, most people want agreement. And that's okay. I'm a minister, practitioner, and I hear people's stories. And that's where people are. There's nothing wrong with being there. To admit it to yourself and to someone you trust is healthy. That's healthy surrender. But to over and over and over and over dig that hole deeper keeps you in that same pit. It builds on the belief that this is my lot in life. And as long as we believe it, so it is. So it is. And the moment can be really horrific to us at the time. And sometimes it results in life-altering situations. But remember, Spirit is always supporting you. The God you came in with is still with you. It cannot be separate from you. We can turn away from it because we have permission to do that. The science of mind, we have declarations of principles. And do each of you have a program cover? Will the ushers please hand some out? How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe? Half a dozen, Diana? Okay. I'd like you to read with me. So let's say the very first principle together. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. The God you came in with is still with you now. It doesn't go anywhere. That's our very first statement of principle in this teaching. And the stronger we can believe that there is something, whatever term you want to use for it, Spirit, God, infinite mind, whatever this self-existent cause is to you, the stronger our belief in ourselves becomes that says, I'm enough, that I am enough. It's telling us that God, the living Spirit, is indestructible. And it's all mighty, like Mighty Mouse. There, right? Is that not right? Hey! It's mighty. It's magnificent. And when you use something, for me anyway, humorous and fun, it opens me. It's like soft clay again. It keeps the wheel turning, a possibility. One of the greatest gifts we have, I think, and it's universal through people believe in the freedom of choice. That's a basic freedom. It's a basic principle here. And we've called it volition, all of these things. But what it is, it's being able to set an intention for yourself, which opens the creative force of Spirit to demonstrate itself through you. Probably the hardest thing I heard early on for me to swallow was that I am responsible for my life, no one else's, or they mine. Yikes. Not that we have to do it by ourselves, but taking responsibility is knowing that we're supported in whatever we choose to experience, and that there will be those people, those opportunities presented to us to assist us along the right path if we don't hold on to the steering wheel too tightly and let it be malleable. So what will it be in your life? SOS? Same old shame? Or will it be SOS? Spirit's outstanding scenario. Same old shame is false and is of the ego. It hardens the clay of possibility in your consciousness. I don't want that. Yeah. It cracks and falls apart and crumbles. Whereas Spirit's outstanding scenario, now there it is. It's wide open to the spiritual magnificence that you are entitled. It's quite a type of program, isn't it? Spirit, you're entitled to that, to live a life magnificent. Let me see. I have a handout. Thank you. Thank you, Diana. And this is a take-home for you. Oh boy, being generous as I am today, I created a little homework for you for the rest of your life. And this is about setting an intention for your life, unlocking the portals of what was. You each have one now, okay? It's the triangle of spiritual surrender. And there are three sides to this triangle, which I refer to as doorways. One of love, one of ease, and one of generosity. And these are the principles that I've associated with the idea of surrender. If we love more, love ourselves more. This is about you. It's not loving out yet. It's about loving yourself more. If you're easy on your growth and yourself as you evolve, if you're easy with life. And then there's the generosity aspect. Allow people to be generous to you. How many have a hard time with receiving? We're taught to give. I mean, it's better to give than to receive. Well, someone's got to receive it. So there's that balance in all of that coming into play here. So, and right in the center, the P, is the potential. That is you. That is your idea. That is your life. That is what you choose to enjoy. So what about the space in between the triangle and the P? That's where ego resides. And ego will keep those doors locked tight if you let it. So, my beloveds, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to unlock the 3 doors of spiritual surrendering, knowing that it's not giving up, but it's giving over to something greater. And there's a place for ways in which you, to write them down, the ways you love yourself, how you're easy on yourself, and what you feel about your generosity of your spirit. Now, it'll probably take more than just these 8 or 10 lines, because we have lots within us to share. So that idea has been opened to you. So today, as you leave, I invite you to go in love, go in generosity of spirit, and be easy with yourself today. Because the mind's been opened up a bit. So hang on. It's going to be a ride. Namaste. So